Good morning, Las Cruces. I wanted to provide a summary today of some of the things I think we need to see changed in order to have a safer Las Cruces. To have a Las Cruces closer to where we were in 2018 and not where we are now. To see crime reduce, to see less homelessness, and to see businesses and residents and visitors that aren't afraid to go to parks and to shop and to be out with their kids. Some of these changes will take time, and some of them hopefully we can get done quickly. So I want to split it into three short-term goals and three long-term goals that I would like to see happen in Las Cruces. The first short-term goal is we have to fill the police officer positions that we have. We've been fortunate that we were funded for 18 additional positions last fiscal year. I have not been able to fill those positions. So I went from 202 to 220 commission officer positions. I currently have 195 officers, with 15 of those on field training that are tied to a field training officer. Right now, fewer people than ever want to be a police officer. That's due to numerous factors, but because of that, we have a smaller pool than we've ever had, and all the agencies are hurting for those people that are qualified and want to be a police officer. We have to be the most attractive police department in southern New Mexico if we want to recruit those qualified applicants to be Las Cruces police officers. The next thing I would like to see is that we replace or implement new ordinances that give my officers tools to help enforce some of the issues that we're seeing throughout the city. We could look for constitutional ordinances that give my officers tools to help deal with the issues we're seeing in the city. We need to be thoughtful about this. Staff needs to bring forth ordinances that would have a positive effect while still protecting the rights of our citizens. And the third short-term goal is to establish a real-time crime center. We've been pushing for this recently. I think now this won't solve all our problems, but it will make a big impact into a piece of the puzzle for solving the issues that we face in Las Cruces. And it does three main things. First and foremost, hopefully it'll prevent crime from occurring. The second thing is when crime does occur, it allows us to get information and evidence to hopefully solve that crime and successfully prosecute the person who committed that crime. And the third thing, which is to me the most important thing, is it increases officer safety. As officers are en route to a call, we can pull up, get eyes on the scene, and see if somebody is armed, if they're hiding, what they're wearing, what happened, and give that information and intelligence to the officers that are responding. It's also really important that we achieve some of these long-term goals. If we really want to make an impact in the crime rate in Las Cruces and some of the quality of life issues we're seeing, these three long-term things have to happen. And the first is to address competency issues. Just to give context, in the last 3 years, 576 cases have been dismissed from municipal court with no discretion on the judge's part. They come down from district court with a finding of incompetent. It comes back to municipal court and they have to dismiss. And if you look at those top four offenders, one person had 124 cases dismissed in the last 3 years. The next 114, 61, 54. All of this happens with zero consequences. And this does not include all the cases in Magistrate Court and District Court that were dismissed due to competency issues. There is bills introduced in both the House and the Senate this year to try to address this that did not make it to the floor. This is something we have to address if we're going to have any long-term change. The next is to address bail reform. In 2016, we passed a constitutional amendment as a state, and I voted for it. The premise that we should not keep people in jail because of poverty or because of their inability to pay for minor offenses is a noble principle. But in practice, what happened is we went from keeping potentially too many people in jail to keeping almost nobody in jail. The burden to keep someone in jail is incredibly high. It does not leave the judges much discretion. And just to give you an example of how ineffective it has been, I had one person in 2023 charged with 15 separate felonies and 28 misdemeanors in that 1 year alone. And the third long-term goal is to address the fentanyl and meth crisis. If you overlay the data for crime, homelessness, and fentanyl seizures in Las Cruces, they will overlap almost perfectly. We did not see fentanyl in Las Cruces, and then all of a sudden we saw it, and it was everywhere. And it's making a huge impact in both crime, homelessness, and quality of life issues. There are no easy answers in how we address this, but it's something that we have to have the endurance and the fortitude to tackle if we're going to have any hope of sustained change here in Las Cruces. And to recap the summary of changes that I believe are needed, the three short-term goals is to fill the police officer positions we have. If I had those 25 officers, there's a lot of things I could do that I cannot do now. Create new ordinances to give officers tools to deal with some of these issues, establish a real-time crime center, and the three long-term goals, which hopefully won't take that long, are deal with the competency issues, deal with the failed bail reform, and to improve the fentanyl and meth crisis in Las Cruces. I appreciate your time and attention. And most importantly, I appreciate that right now there's a lot of people in Las Cruces who care about change and care about making our city better. Thank you.